Andrew Kay, CEO of the South Australian Business Chamber. Andrew, thank you for joining us again on via Zoom for our regular conversations on the Radio Italia Uno.
Thanks, Antonio. Great to be here.
Yes, grappling a bit with the technology here, but we're getting there. So I, on my YouTube channel, I've got this little clip of you saying that when you meet your members in the business, I say no one would ever say no to another event. Now that might not be entirely true, but I don't think have we reached that stage yet? Are people disappointed that we have the Moto GP now coming to Adelaide?
Look, you've got to be careful what you say when there's footage. But
yes.
Look, I remember saying, and I've said this on more than one occasion, that businesses would never knock back another major event purely on the basis of the tourism potentially that it brings into the city, the money that people spend in our local economy, and the weight takes off us as South Australians and having to do that heavy lifting because the money comes in from interstate or overseas. Now, the immediate response to the Moto GP has been quite incredible in terms of the general support I've seen. Now, there'll be some issues, I think, with some sections of the community around removal of trees in the parklands, but other than that, the only thing I've heard has been super positive. And I'd actually ask you, I was in a meeting with Sim Penzo yesterday morning, who a very successful Italian businessman here in South Australia, and I've never seen him so excited as he and his brother were about the MotoGP. Why is it that the Italian community gets so excited about this race?
Well, there's a strong tradition in motorsports, as you might imagine. There's the Ferraris, for example, with Formula One, but there's some very major Italian marques, brands in the motorcycle industry, Ducati being one of them. And so, that's probably attracts a similar passion as the cars and the Ferraris do. Yes, I saw him getting real excited.
Yeah, of course, the challenge is going to be for the second year. This is going to be on a street circuit, and it's never been done before, which means there's some logistics and some thinking to work out there. And there's always that tension about these street circuits in terms of the disruption they cause to some businesses and certainly the public, but at the same time, the benefits and what's offset by the tourism and the foot traffic they bring into the CBD.
Yeah. Now, I've been thinking, I'm guessing there must be some very good either logistics or planning capabilities in South Australia to be able to run all these events. We've got the Fringe now, the festival. There's I call it the Cripsal 500. It's not Cripsal 500 anymore. And even going back to the Formula One. So, am I correct? Is there a good basis of human capital in South Australia for this type of events?
We have a record of delivering these events exceptionally well, and that success has led to more success. And I think the catalyst for a lot of this has been Gather Round. When people saw what we could do over effectively 4 or 5 days with Gather Round at that level, that triggered Live Golf, that triggered MotoGP. Of course, we deliver the BP Grand Final as well. We have this reputation now that we can do major events and do them very well. One of the secrets, I think, is the layout and the proximity to everything that Adelaide has. So you can be in major convention centres, but walk across the bridge and you're at the Adelaide Oval. You're also 20 minutes from the Adelaide Hills for wineries, 20 minutes from golf courses on the western side of the city. So that proximity makes it very easy to wrap up a package and have these events in areas that you do these things in Sydney and Melbourne. You're having to drive large distances to get to them, or they're spread out across the city, and it's not that convenient. Adelaide does it really well.
Yeah. And I don't remember, it probably would have been the last time we spoke. You had a SA Chamber charter, business charter for the what you're asking the government, an alternative government, for in terms of policies for the business sector. Uh, have we got an update on that? And then I'll ask you whether. Yeah, okay. Let's start with that. Have you seen anything that that fits well or not so well with your charter?
Interestingly, the government's been very much focused on announcements around defence, housing, which is to be expected, health. And interestingly, today the Premier at a future SA lunch I was at made an announcement around gas, that they've struck a deal. This is literally announced a couple of hours ago. They've struck a deal with Santos that from 2030 the government is going to purchase 20 petajoules of gas every year from Santos. So rather than this gas being exported overseas, it's going to be held here in South Australia. So that's a real commitment to reinforce gas supplies to shore up that move to renewables. And I'm not a gas expert, but I believe that amount of gas is more than we currently use in South Australia as for every man, woman, and child. So it's a significant investment. And
so does that mean what the government becomes a retailer of gas?
They didn't talk about the detail to it, but it effectively is retaining that gas here in South Australia rather than sending it offshore, because a lot of people are up in arms around we're paying very high prices for gas as part of our energy mix, yet 80% of it's going offshore. Why aren't we looking after people at home? That's often the catch cry I hear. So I think this is a way of potentially addressing some of those concerns. So the announcements the Premier's been making may indirectly affect business, but they haven't been specific, whereas the opposition have picked up on a few things that are actually in our charter. They've talked about, or they've actually announced a tax reform commission to review taxation in South Australia, and some of the things they've picked up on: payroll tax, lifting the threshold on payroll tax, which is something we've certainly asked for, so they've tapped into that, and making it giving payroll tax exemptions to businesses that bring on trainees and apprentices, which is something we've asked for as well. That's in the Liberal Party policy platform that I heard today. So we're seeing some of the things that we've talked about picked up there. The Premier's keeping his powder dry on business announcements. There's still a few weeks to go. And who knows if you'll need to roll them out or not, Antonio, will say.
Yeah, so as you said, things like MotoGP have an indirect impact on business, but it's not a business policy.
Correct.
As you were talking just before, you were talking to Kaya Maher, and he said there's kind of an in-principle agreement with the nursing union about pay rises, which they won't be able to implement to formalise as the caretaker system starts tomorrow, but maybe that's been concluded. Maybe it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, there was an announcement, obviously, during the week that real wage growth has now declined for the first time in a while in Australia, as we've seen inflation start to creep up again, and obviously the Reserve Bank have acted by hiking interest rates. So we're in that interesting period where if you ask business owners, they'd say, gee, we've been putting up wages quite a bit over the last 2 or 3 years, but because inflation hasn't settled, you get this mix in the economy where some people are still in negative territory when it comes to real wage growth.
Yes, and I think I didn't look at them closely, but there would have been some labour force data out recently, employment, unemployment. How's South Australia faring there?
We're still effectively at what you'd consider to be full employment. It remains a very, very strong market, and businesses we talk to still struggling to find staff, and some sectors impacted more than others and some roles more than others, but it's still a very, very tight labour market. And this is another challenge that the state faces as we hear about all these incredible opportunities with AUKUS and the announcement of $30 billion coming in from the federal government on the weekend. That was announced that is going to build not the submarines, but just build the sheds and the location at Osborne to build these submarines. $30 billion worth we are going to really find it hard to find workers if we don't get that mix of locally upskilled and trained people and skilled migrants. This is a challenge when we have a debate going on in Australia right now around migration.
Yeah, and it seems to have intensified very, very recently. Uh, does the chamber have a position on this?
Well, we're certainly of the view that South Australia needs skilled migrants to deliver on this promise that we have, and that needs to be managed, obviously, carefully by government. But I think if you looked at this through a South Australian lens compared to some of the other states, we are going to face a massive deficit of workers that will potentially make it difficult for us to deliver all the projects we need to. And when that happens, that'll certainly force prices up, wages up, because we'll be bidding for workers in a market, desperately trying to get them on track. And if you think that businesses are chasing tradies to do the work, what's left over to work on your house and put your bathroom or renovate your kitchen? You can see that trickle down effect. So we certainly need to ramp up our workforce. There's no question about it.
Yes, this shortages in the labour market, or tight labour market, has been in place for several years now. Are you seeing? Okay, so better training, but still the same number of people are available. Some immigration helps, and should help more. Have you noticed a shift to more intensive use of technology or capital to save on labour?
There's a few things we're seeing and hearing about. We're certainly hearing AI is starting to impact. AI is definitely with bigger businesses, and this is probably more an Eastern Seaboard thing to a degree than South Australia, where the big head offices are held, but roles being taken over by AI. We're also hearing more businesses say, I can't get staff, or if I'm getting staff, I'm having to pay so much for them, so I'm offshoring this work to the Philippines or somewhere like that. So there is definitely a growing upswell of businesses offshoring, and it's not always just about price. It's about the fact that they can't get the people. But price certainly will have something to play in it as wages have grown.
Yeah, no, when we talk about the charter and the policies that the major parties have put forward, we might need to change the definition of who's the major party in Australia, maybe even South Australia. And there's nothing, I don't imagine that's anything you would want to talk about, but maybe in the background, that's this realignment, apparently alignment in the structure of our political system should be of interest to you and to your members.
No, it absolutely is. It's fascinating, this whole pre-election cycle. We've never really seen anything quite like it, and the impact of what's happening federally is certainly playing out here in South Australia as well. And we need a strong opposition to keep any government accountable, no matter whether that's a Labor or Liberal government. And if you look at the polls right now, that there's a lot of commentary around whether there won't be a strong opposition in play. It might be a couple of independents, a couple of Liberals, and a couple of First Nation, or whatever it might look like. We'd certainly be hoping, as a chamber, that purely for democracy, we need a strong opposition, and the two-party system has traditionally served us well there, but now, yes, it's looks like it's up for grabs to a degree, but we'll see. As the leader of the opposition was reminding everyone at lunch today that I went to, there's still however many days left between now, 30 days, I think, between now and the election. And as she said, that's the most important poll, election day. But yeah, it's fascinating to watch.
Yes. So she's certainly communicating fairly well, I think, comes across reasonably strongly, but it certainly is an uphill battle, and Yeah, who knows? Maybe the poison's Chala's job, but that's
Well, yeah,
he'll at least be able to
people
show
can
her
get
mettle to the party.
people to get a chance to see how well she does perform in that environment because the chamber is hosting the pre-election debate in conjunction with the South Australian Press Club this year on March 13.
Okay,
It's there's
that's a
tickets
Friday.
available on our website, on the SA Business Chamber website, but it's a Friday. It'll be streamed live or actually telecast live, I believe, by the ABC. So if people want to watch it locally, it kicks off around lunchtime and it'll be live.
Oh, okay, so Friday the 13th, there's
Yep.
a luncheon with Peter Malinauskas and Ashton Hearn as speakers.
Yes, at the Adelaide Oval.
Okay, lovely spot, lovely, very good caterers, lovely location and views. And is there a Q&A? Can people be able to ask
Yeah,
questions?
so it'll be Rosanna Mangiarelli will be
Yep.
MC, and Rory McLaren from the ABC will be moderating the debate. He'll be in charge.
Okay, so and how can people get tickets?
They can go to the South Australian Business Chamber website. If you just Google SA Business Chamber, it'll
Yeah.
take you there and go to events, and you'll see that event listed there along with some of the other things we've got coming up, like International Women's Day lunch and the AFL Gather Round official business lunch.
So when's the gather round happening? Is it usually early April, right? But that would
Yeah,
be
it's April, just around the time of the interstate Easter holiday, so the Victorians can come over here straight after. I reckon it's something like April the 7th, 8th, 9th, rings a bell, something like that.
okay. And your business, and you're having a business lunch as you always have, and you've generally had the premier come to speak, right?
Yeah, we'll have the Premier and Andrew Dillon, who's the CEO of the AFL. They'll both be up on stage, and we'll have our usual array of AFL personalities and the AFL bring all their interstate clubs to that lunch. So there's CEOs of the interstate clubs. We normally get up to 900 to 1,000 people in the room. It's quite a big deal.
Yeah, I have to admit I've never been involved with any of the activities of the gather round, but I only hear good reports, positive reports about it from especially people who come from interstate. So it's very good and excellent opportunity for the state.
It is. It's been a success, and we're hoping that there'll be an announcement this time around where the Premier can speak to another extension, because I think it must be in its second to last year. So we'd be hoping that an announcement on that is imminent.
Cool. Okay. Well, must move. Also, because I'll need to shift the car. I saw a parking inspector just a few minutes ago. So thank you again, Andrew Kay, for joining us on Radio Italia Adelaide. And actually, last time you were able to say Buon Natale. Now you might have to say Buona Pasqua, because Easter will be coming up before we meet again.
Oh, there you go. Buona Pasqua. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So thank you very much, and have a good weekend.
Thanks. Same to you, Antonio.